Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to another conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. And this conversation, I have a question for you. Are you having Kundalini, or do you want to have Kundalini because you can do something like this? With the Kundalini, as much as possible, one needs to have a level of refinement with regards to how we use the ego. If you were given special powers like that right off the bat, without having any kind of ego education or ego control, people could wreak a lot of damage on other people just because of the extreme emotional outbursts that the Kundalini brings in a person. So you won't get to have these types of powers until your emotional maturity and the ego control that you need within you has been concretized. I mean, you're very grounded in who you are, why you have these powers, and whether or not you should even use them anytime, for any reason. Let's talk some more. Responsibility. It's all about responsibility. Responsibility to others and responsibility to yourself. Are you taking the time to know who you are on an emotional level? Do any of you know who you are, how you respond to any given stimulus? This is what's required before you're able to use these kinds of powers. And are you doing it to look powerful? You know, is it ego aggrandizement? Or is it, you know, do you want to be seen as the great healer or the great personage in this way? Do you want to be known as the grand director of whatever group you're associated with? You know, are you using it like some folks do? Are you trying to use it as a weapon? These are the issues within you that need to get ironed out before these types of graces are given. Now, typically what I showed you out there, that is not out of the question. It's not common, it's not typical, and you definitely wouldn't see somebody out there doing that like, you know, Merlin or somebody. Not a responsible person. And once again, you know, I am making the statement that emotional responsibility, ego responsibility is required for these types of scenarios to exist within a person. The body has the power, don't get me wrong. The body has the power. It can do this. You know, you can align with the forces of the natural environment, and you can bring that kind of lightning or that kind of energy down upon the ground, and you can affect sustained physical changes with this energy. But until you learn to walk with love and to walk with forgiveness and to walk with tolerance and to walk with patience and honesty and trust and sincerity, these will not be bestowed upon you. And if they are, it's because you may have done this at another time, and yet you may have an amazing karmic lesson to learn, you know, through the misappropriate or the inappropriate use of these types of powers. This does occur. People will be given a certain power or a certain skill so that they can misuse it through the use of the ego. And by misusing it, you know, they can go into a level of learning how to use it properly. Not so much with throwing the lightning, okay, but with other things like healing or certain forms of coercion. Coercion is another extremely powerful skill. So with these powers, the Kundalini demands that you respect other people. You know their karma. You know what it is they're here to do. Okay? You know it because of your communication with your Kundalini. And let's not confuse communication with your Kundalini to, you know, with a communication with an entity that says, oh, I'm your Kundalini, you know, and you don't question it. Remember, by their fruits shall you know them. By the fruit of that lie to you, will you know the level of value of that entity with you. Okay. So once again, those of you who are mediums, you know, you may want to really kind of get out of the let's channel any and all entities. You know, get out of that and just channel yourself. You know, be happy with being yourself. Be happy with being yourself and having the Kundalini. Okay, so with these powers, you want to be very, very, very schooled and educated in how it is the ego controls you. How tied up are you into Maya, or the Sanskrit word for illusion is Maya. So how much does illusion control who you are? Look and see. You know, I had many students, and some of these students, you know, they're graduating up, you know, into the Kundalini, and so they'll receive certain tests for their ego, and I'll give them certain tests myself. I'll test their character, so to speak. You know, do they fly off into a rage? Does their practice all of a sudden go away when something doesn't go their way, or the way they think things should be? And so these tests are all about controlling the ego, being in the present moment. So bring yourself into a level of refinement where you can begin to access these parts of the Kundalini awakening experience, and where this part of the Kundalini can begin to access you. Don't go through entities or demons or magicians or any of these other qualities that don't really get into any kind of ego control. That's a really good way to build some negative karma for yourself. So know this, respect this tremendously, respect other people tremendously. Don't feel that this is like a cartoon where you can just throw a car over a building, or you can wipe out an entire army because they don't agree with you. This is not the level of emotional responsibility that I'm talking about here, okay? This isn't a toy. Kundalini skills are not for entertainment purposes. They're not as an adjunct to your home entertainment system. These are very, very, very serious and beautiful skills for a person to have. And I want you to know this, and I want you to understand this and respect this before you even come into the Kundalini. Let yourself know this, so that as you bring down the lightning, or on a hot summer day, you bring a little snow into the equation, that you can do it responsibly. And let the Kundalini and let God, let the divine within you blend with you, and be very, very, very astute. You'll be tempted by entities. You'll be tempted by consciousness that is there to test your emotional prowess, that is there to test you, test your honesty, test your truth, test your level of fear, test your desire to have power. You'll be tested in these areas before you're given these great, great divine gifts. And if you can get there, if you can do that, if you can come that far, you too will be able to bring down an avalanche of love into your life and the life of those around you. Thanks for watching. Wait.